They last met 9 weeks ago, and one of the most significant games in German history ended in an historic victory for Bayern at Wembley. Tonight, Der Klassiker pitched them together again in Dortmund in the traditional curtain raiser to the 2013-14 season. Hello from Jim Proudfoot and welcome to Signal Iduna Park for Borussia Dortmund against Bayern Munich in the German Super Cup, as Pep Guardiola takes charge of the treble winners for the first time in a competitive game. Jim Beglin's alongside me for the season's first instalment of a rivalry that has had fans enthralled. 2 years ago, it was Dortmund that held the upper hand, retaining their league title and thrashing the Bavarians in the cup final to clinch the double. Last year, Bayern's triumphs reached even greater heights, winning the league by 25 points, knocking Dortmund out of the cup on the way to lifting the trophy before the crowning glory in the Champions League final at Wembley. Well, except for the absence of the injured Lucas Piszczek, Dortmund have named the same side that started the Champions League final in May. New signings Socrates and Aubameyang are on the bench, while the summer's big money buy, Henrik Mkhitaryan, is injured. Kevin Grosskreutz fills in for Schmelzer at right back, with Nuri Sahin coming into the midfield, and Robert Lewandowski, who didn't sign for Bayern in the summer despite speculation, starts. Bayern's most expensive summer signing doesn't feature either. Mario Götze moved from Dortmund in a €37 million deal. There's more than a slight political aspect to his absence. But Thiago Alcantara does start after his move from Barcelona. Manuel Neuer and Frank Ribery both picked up slight injuries in the match with Barca in the week. So Tom Starker starts in goal, Shaqiri plays on the left, and Arjen Robben, the match winner in the Champions League final, on the right. Always a wonderful atmosphere here at the old Westfalenstadion. Now the Signal Iduna Park, of course. Tonight, no exception. A friendly, in inverted commas, but still a crowd, Jim, of best part of 81,000 here for Pep Guardiola's first competitive match in charge. Yeah,
well, you'd expect that at this arena. They absolutely love their football in this part of Germany, fanatical about it, and it's a stunning setting for the Super Cup, for the opener. And even though either side is not at absolute full strength, it's hard really with the squads they've got for these teams to put out weaker teams. So I'm really expecting a cracker. I think this will be as intense as it comes for such a pre-season contest.
It's a long, hard season ahead, that goes without saying, but what will the winners of this match actually take out of it going into the season?
Well, I think Dortmund need a win, I really do, because I think they have to just do some damage to the Bayern psyche, because the confidence and belief is absolutely soaring. And based on what we've seen in pre-season so far, it looks as if Bayern under Pep Guardiola are going to carry on in the same fashion they did under Jupp Heynckes. So I really think for Dortmund's viewpoint, and in helping their own belief as well, they need to put a dent in Bayern tonight and need the victory probably more so than the treble winners of last season.
Some illustrious names for a very illustrious match. Games between these two have become the defining moments of the German season. No exaggeration to say that in some cases they have been the encounters that have moulded history. Plenty of subplots and subtext tonight. The player that both clubs wanted, who moved but doesn't feature. The player both clubs wanted, who didn't move and does. And the added ingredient of one of the greatest managers of the modern game making his bow for his new club. Only the Super Cup? Oh no, anything but. Interesting to see how Kevin Grosskreutz gets on at right back, a very versatile player. Played on the left-hand side of midfield in the Champions League final. Fills in for Lucas Piszczek in that right back position tonight.
I'm talking at the start that it's hard to see these teams weakened, no matter who they put in their lineup. But I think Pep Guardiola will certainly be hoping that Grosskreutz doesn't give Dortmund the type of aggressive attacking, that running that you get from Piszczek, and that will take away a little bit certainly from Dortmund going forward in this contest.
Nine weeks ago, Arjen Robben put all the disappointment of the 2012 Champions League final behind him. with the winning goal late on against Borussia Dortmund. Very cathartic experience, judging by the celebrations at the time and the words afterwards.
Yeah, and I just wonder whether Guardiola is going to get the same work rate that Jupp Heynckes managed to get out of Robben, which was quite astounding towards the end of last season, principally with his tracking back and the ugly work he actually put into his game. It was quite a change.
A very successful pre-season since Guardiola took over. They've had 9 warm-up games by, and they've won all 9. They've scored 61 and conceded just the 3 in the process. Alba making his way forward from left back and getting the better of Grosskreutz. It's Błaszczykowski that had to come back and double up on the Austrian at the expense of the first corner.
And that's something you always get from the Pole. You know, he'll always kind of get back and help his fullback out. It's usually his compatriot Piszczek, but obviously tonight, as we mentioned, it's Grosskreutz, and he will need help.
Hummels with the initial defensive header. No foul on Royce. He just got caught under the studs of Alaba. He was able to rescue it quickly enough. And Boateng lays it back for the reserve goalkeeper Tom Starker, aside from Offenheim this time last year, yet to concede a goal in Bayern's first team. It's his 5th appearance for the club tonight.
Shaqiri seems to have a very advanced role to play in what we've seen so far. I mean, he's the one that's looking to close down Weidenfeller, the Dortmund keeper, all the time. Anytime the ball's played back to him, Shaqiri's the one that's kind of just getting forward more than anybody else. And it's like as if he's tucked in close-ish to Mandzukic. Robben obviously from the right-hand side. I think it's just a case of rotating it.
Błaszczykowski. Grosskreutz outside, and it was Mandzukic that the ball hit. Grosskreutz just arguing with the linesman whether it hit the arm of Mandzukic and should have been a free kick. One of the great strengths about this Dortmund side in the recent past has been the continuity. Jurgen Klopp, not a manager that chops and changes for the sake of it. 3 first-teamers in and 3 out over the course of the summer. The net spend only 10 million euros. That has been the most astonishing aspect, I think. The likes of Robben, Weidenfeller have become real integral members of Dortmund's success. Bayern getting away with the defensive error. It's Lewandowski, no shortage of potential teammates to find in the middle, and the header is in after a goalkeeping howler from Tom Starker. Marco Reus gives Borussia Dortmund the lead. Welcome to German football. Howler by the goalkeeper, spilled for Reus, and the champions trail.
But you can trace that deeper. Lewandowski's certainly onside because Stark made the first mistake in his attempted clearance. They were messing about at the back. The second one is just an absolute, complete and utter shocker. It's the easiest catch in the world for him, and he's just let it slip from his grasp. And Reus just took a little gamble, was just on the move while everybody else was watching, and it fell beautifully for him to tuck it in, and it's a gift for Dortmund.
20th goal that Marco Reus has scored in the colours of Borussia Dortmund. It's his 50th appearance for the club tonight. It's our first blood in the 2013-14 season goes to Dortmund. It's fair to say that there's a long, long way to go yet. It's the manner of the concession of the goal, though, that will have startled Guardiola rather than the fact that they're one down at this stage.
Well, Starker seemed to be trying to do an impression of Manuel Neuer. Manuel Neuer has got great confidence, almost borders on arrogance at times, and you know, is comfortable with the ball at his feet. And Starker was just trying to be a bit flash on the ball, and he gave it away to begin with. You know, it was a poor attempted clearance by him, and then it unfolded from there. And the second one, as you said, Jim, it was what an aberration. It's extraordinary. But the goalkeeper has got off to an awful start, and you could see Guardiola's reaction in turning with disgust back towards his bench.
Many have talked about the thankless task that Guardiola perhaps has facing him. Two aspects to it, really. Firstly, the amount of success that he had at Barcelona. 14 out of a possible 19 trophies while he was at the club were won. And then secondly, the fact that he's replaced a man who had gone 14 years without winning any silverware and then won the lot in Bayern's most successful ever campaign.
Yeah, well, listen, all you can do is your best. And they are rare seasons, remember.
And here's Lewandowski in again. It's 2-0. Flag up. Might have been a close call. It is a close call.
Yeah, maybe just. I mean, he did try to take a step back and get onside, and it was David Alaba seemed to be playing him on, but I think there was a little piece of him poking out. It's very marginal, but I think probably just about right.
Well, 2-0 to Dortmund inside 8 minutes would have sent shockwaves reverberating around Bavaria.
Well, I think that the Super Cup of last season, when Bayern won at the Allianz Arena 2-1, I think that was Bayern arresting a really good run of results for Dortmund in this fixture, whatever the competition.
Nice control by Alaba. Ends up winning a throw.
Dortmund had put 5 past Bayern in a German Cup final as well, Jim.
I was privileged to have been commentating that night, Jim. It was a wonderful performance. The second half was an extraordinary 45 minutes of football. Robert Lewandowski's individual performance absolutely mesmeric that night.
Well, for me, he's arguably, I think, the best back-to-goal striker in the world. It's taking nothing away from his finishing either. I mean, he's an incredible finisher too. But yeah, I think everybody's delighted that he's still wearing yellow and not playing for the opposition tonight.
Might have to make the most of seeing him in the yellow, though. This could well be the start of his final season with the club. Muller. Probably just about his first touch of the ball. Thiago Alcantara winning it back. Shaqiri. Toni Kroos. Robben. Shaqiri. Good stop by Weidenfeller.
I like that about Shaqiri. He doesn't mess about. You know, he's a little kind of pocket dynamo. Everything is quick, and if he gets a chance to shoot, then he'll fire. And that's very smart from Weidenfeller.
Six-minute goal from Marco Reus after a couple of individual errors from Bayern's standing goalkeeper Tom Starker. Between the two teams as we reach the 10-minute mark. Bayern last season, sorry Jim, broke all kinds of records. Fewest goals conceded over the course of a Bundesliga season being one of them. They let in only 18. That's an average of only a shade over half a goal a game. 12 months ago, Dortmund had a similarly impressive record. And yet last year really struggled. Weidenfeller coming into this one today has kept only 8 clean sheets in 39, which when you consider how mean they were defensively 12 months ago, it shows how far they've fallen. Here's Thiago. Ball in from Lahm. It's just too far ahead of Mandzukic. The whistle had gone anyway from Jochen Drees.
Yeah, deemed to have fouled Grosskreutz, far post, Mandzukic. But lovely little ball from Lahm. That's one of the things Lahm does extremely well. But this is what I mean, messing about. The goalkeeper's just come up with a poor kick. He's given it straight back to Dortmund. There was an attempt by Gundogan to try and actually knock the ball in the net while he was still well off his line. He's onside Lewandowski, but this is just inexplicable. It should be an absolute doddle of a catch. Maybe the fact that Van Buiten just ran across in front of him just distracted him momentarily, but still, he should have gotten hold of it and not allowed it to drift into Royce's path.
Van Buiten, 35 now. A wonderful Indian summer to his career. This is his 8th season with Bayern. Free kick given by the referee, and no discernible complaints from the Dortmund players. Taken quickly by Kroos. Lahm, now Robben.
Just talking about Lahm and getting the cross in before, far post for Mandzukic. He was on the end of one of those, playing in midfield against Barcelona in midweek. Philipp Lahm scoring a header.
Alaba's ball in. Muller, Shaqiri! Weidenfeller making the initial stop and then reacting brilliantly, having been off balance to deny.
It's at Weidenfeller, and when it comes back off Muller, there's not enough pace on it, and Weidenfeller can make a follow-up save.
Corner from Kroos, away by Robert Lewandowski.
But a wonderful opportunity for me for Bayern to level. I'm disappointed in Shaqiri there. I thought he'd be hitting that with more conviction, and certainly away from Roman Weidenfeller. Made it easy for the goalkeeper.
Kroos. Knocked out by Schmelzer. One back by Thiago. Van Buiten with enough time to turn it back for his hapless goalkeeper. Very grateful just to be able to get the ball out of harm's way that time, Starkey. Lewandowski looking for the run of Gundogan outside him.
Well, I think we've seen already that if Bayern aren't precise enough with their passing and moving it about in midfield, then Dortmund will get a foot in, because okay, they're not probably playing that high-octane pressing game as much tonight, but they're still very good at nicking it back and still work hard at closing you down across midfield. Little handball by Thiago.
€20 million they paid Barcelona for him. Italian-born Spanish international who's won only 3 caps so far. And still very much one for the future as well as one for the present. Here's Gundogan. Lewandowski peeled away. Managed to buy himself a yard of space past Alaba, but the cross was still too deep.
And it was a very good run as well by Gundogan. Spotted that Lahm was out of position, just slotted in between himself and Van Buiten. And Lewandowski had pulled away from Alaba far post, but it's a poor delivery.
This is the third meeting in the Super Cup between these two. Bayern won an entertaining encounter last year by 2-1. The previous one back in 1989 saw Dortmund win 4-3. Could arguably be 2-2 in this one with barely quarter of an hour played. This is a barometer of what we can expect from the Bundesliga this season, and the portents yet again are very good. It is a wonderful lead.
Yeah, and what I was saying to you at the start as well about, I mean, Guardiola's quite animated at the moment. I think he's a bit displeased about the work rate. I don't think he feels his Bayern players are getting back behind the ball quickly enough at times, because he really seems to be kind of urging them to quicken it up a bit to get behind it. But I was just going to say to you, Jim, that not only would it be good for Dortmund's belief if they can get one over on Bayern again before the Bundesliga starts off, but I think it'd be good for every other team in the league. Just give everybody a little bit more hope that they can take them on, because they are the supreme outfit based on what we've seen last season, and as you were saying, with the amount of goals they've got this pre-season.
Here's Royce, Lewandowski. Another had the time to turn, but he didn't need that bit of time. Mandzukic losing out. Royce, Lewandowski! Well, should he have scored? Good save from Starker. Got one of his stripes back there, no doubt about that. But Robert Lewandowski could so easily have made it 2-0. And that save, the catalyst for a swift counter-attack at the other end. He breaks down with Robben's pass for Lahm. Intercepted by Schmelzer.
Well, the way this is going, it could end up another 4-3 quite easily.
Kroos. Shaqiri trying his luck.
Yeah, that was a bit wasteful that time, just didn't get over the ball at all, but he's better than that, Shaqiri. Just leant back a little and it's wild. But at the other end, it was beautifully created, and Royce has a simple task of finding Lewandowski. And all I'd say about that is the pole gave the goalkeeper a chance to save it. But that position one-on-one, I expected him to find the corner. And for me, it should be 2-0 to Dortmund. Really should.
36 goals for Robert Lewandowski last season, including 4 in a match against Real Madrid. Offside flag up here against Mandzukic.
Yeah, it looked as if he just strayed, and you know, again, he's looking across the line and he should be just holding his run. I'm not sure it suits him either, the fact that Shaqiri seems to kind of want to be busy inside for much of what we've seen so far, and Mandzukic is actually stuck out on the left side. I think they should probably reverse the roles a little bit for a while.
Boyton with the foul on Gundogan.
He might have just got studs on the ball. I think he did, but you know, when your foot's up like that, there's any contact made nowadays, decision's always going to go against you. Always moaning, aren't they, managers? Never stop. Poor fourth officials.
Gundogan. Real potency and threat about Dortmund whenever they're in this kind of position. Grosskreutz with a layoff behind Royce. That's another byproduct of the role that Mandzukic is playing, that he's sat very deep at times just in front of Alaba at left back, which isn't where he does his good work. Hummel's trying to stride through and now out of position. Lahm will try and make the most of that. Muller. Ready for the movement from Mandzukic. Finds Shaqiri instead. He rides a challenge of Grosskreutz when perhaps some might have looked for a penalty. Now Kroos. Thiago Alcantara. Alaba.
Well, there was a bit more concentration in what Stark was doing there. Certainly he was sharper about it too. I always think as well with the way Dortmund go about things, it's very difficult for an opposition to have good possession against them, because they do work so hard at kind of getting the ball back.
And Mandzukic is onside, just couldn't quite reach it.
And I was going to say, that's the only kind of vulnerability they can have at times, because when they are trying to squeeze it like that, high line, then they are vulnerable always to that running behind if you get good early ball. And he was just a whisker away, Mandzukic.
Well, we conceded 42 goals last season, which was almost as many as the previous 2 seasons combined. With that in mind, I think Jurgen Klopp went into the transfer market, and the Socrates Papastathopoulos arrived at the club. One of the summer signings is on the bench today. Paid €9 million to Werder Bremen to get the signature of the experienced Greek international defender. Felipe Santana has left the club over the course of the summer, but I think Socrates will provide a little bit more genuine competition for the experienced centre-half duo of Subotic and Hummels, who perhaps at times have been on easy street knowing that they're going to be playing every week.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you need the competition there, no doubt about that. They are an experienced pair, and no surprise that Socrates has had to kind of, you know, stand aside really for this one. Big game. He was always going to probably use that pairing, that understanding they've got. But it's right to have somebody of a good calibre, and he is. Papastathopoulos, to have him standing by.
Robin and Muller just unable to get the link-up play accurate enough.
Yeah, applause from Jurgen Klopp. I think he'll be happy, and I think the game plan seems to be very much to let Bayern come onto them and then just make it difficult in the opposition half. And Starker will be having nightmares over that error. Really will.
Well, it was inevitable that at some stage Starker would concede his first goal in Bayern colours. He wouldn't have wanted it to come like that or here. In a game of this magnitude, which is being beamed to 175 different countries around the world tonight.
Well, this is as good as it gets in European football at the moment. I mean, contested obviously the Champions League final, as you mentioned, Jim, in May. These are two astoundingly good outfits. They really are. And I like this practice as well. On a really warm evening, which it is tonight, let's have a little water break, just make it easier for the players. You don't want to be overdoing it, and particularly in pre-season as well. Guardiola delighted because he can try and sort one or two matters. I think he obviously wants a little bit more too from his side going forward, but easier said than done against a home outfit that are making it very hard.
Mkhitaryan, a very interesting signing, a wonderful season for Shakhtar Donetsk. I think that there were plenty of suitors around Europe that would have been prepared to pay the asking price of just a little under 30 million euros. Decided to come here. Expected to pretty much fill the boots of Goetze in the same sort of role.
Yeah, and I'm disappointed that he's not on show tonight, so we could kind of get just a feel for what he's all about and what he's likely to bring to the side, because everybody talks about replacing players. You don't really replace a player directly. Yeah, you might play in that position, but you evolve into a different type of team.
The reason he's not playing tonight, incidentally, he's got an ankle ligament injury and is expected to be out for at least another 3 weeks yet.
Again, you know, that's what Bayern need to improve on now if they're going to break this Dortmund defence down. Just kind of be a little more exact with the passing. Again, it was a simple enough one for Shaqiri. He should be fine, Mandzukic.
He's had to wait 6 months for tonight, Pep Guardiola, from the time that his appointment was announced. Took training for the first time at the back end of last month. Certainly, in true Guardiola style, hasn't wasted those 6 months. Not just player recruitment and having a say in that, but he's fluent in German already. Batteries recharged after his sabbatical, much of which was spent in the United States.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. We just got a shot of Javi Martinez in the crowd. Be interesting to see what Thiago does to the kind of Martinez-Schweinsteiger dynamic in the centre of midfield too. And when they open up their Bundesliga campaign against Borussia Mönchengladbach in early August, as to, you know, who he's going to choose. I mean, I think Schweinsteiger's a little behind in pre-season. He had an operation in June, and he's playing catch-up. But those two were regarded as probably the best central midfield pairing in the world.
Grosskreutz. Sahin, who's signed on for another year but still on loan. Started last season on loan at Liverpool, of course, Nuri Sahin. It's Grosskreutz with the throw. Blaszczykowski. Well, he's trying it again. This time he got away with it.
Why doesn't he just aim for Rosette? Just aim away from the player who's closing him down and just find Rosette. Taking a touch is just asking for trouble, and particularly when it's Lewandowski.
Kroos. Just going back to what you were saying about Javi Martinez, a slight change of emphasis in the midfield this year, perhaps because Guardiola so far has set Bayern out, not just today, but in the other pre-season games, in a 4-1-4-1 midfield, as opposed to the 4-2-3-1 that they utilised under Heinkes last year. Now, if they were still playing a 4-2-3-1, I'm sure you could make a case for Schweinsteiger either playing in a more advanced role or perhaps not playing at all, and having Martinez and Alcantara being in there together. But in a 4-1-4-1, well, it doesn't quite fit as easily as that.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see how it unfolds, because of course that's part of the whole practice as well as a manager in balancing your squad and keeping everybody happy to boot. And if he is going to be leaving out, imagine if he left out Schweinsteiger when he was in, you know, some decent form, then, you know, I'm sure he'd have something to say about that.
Boyton with a header away. Boateng, Alaba and Thiago neatly getting themselves out of trouble. It's a Bayern side who only dropped points in 5 of 34 league games last season. They won more games than any other side in history. But they were held twice by Dortmund in the league encounters, one of which admittedly after they'd already won the league. Lahm. Muller. Mandzukic did really well to keep the ball alive. Weidenfeller at his most alert.
I think that's one of their best passing moves of the match so far, and he stood it up far post Thomas Muller. It's a bit of Pat Jennings here from Weidenfeller, isn't it? A one-handed catch. Well, when you're talking about the amount of goals that Bayern have scored pre-season, Jim, I was looking even at the Telecom Cup when they played Hamburg and Mönchengladbach, scored 9 goals, 8 different goal scorers as well in those 2 games. You know, which tells you that the variety they have going forward and the amount of match winners they have in their ranks too. That's correct. He just couldn't quite get back in line before the ball was played, Robin.
Socrates Papastathopoulos on the right-hand side of your picture there. Having to take up a watching brief for now at least. He can play at right back as well, and indeed has done so, deputising for the injured Piszczek in some of the pre-season games so far. Dortmund also involved in that pre-season tournament, the Telkom Cup. They lost to Gladbach in the semi-finals before seeing off Hamburg in the 3rd and 4th place game.
Yeah, and I think for Dortmund as well, I think after winning successive Bundesliga titles, I think the emphasis was always likely to switch towards the Champions League. And they were outstanding for most of that, and maybe a little unlucky not to do better in the final, but to get a better result. Now they've got to balance it for the season to come. They've got to be strong on 2 fronts.
Great play by Shaqiri. Alaba with the ball in. And despite his best attempt, Mandzukic just couldn't stretch enough. Now Lahm. Lovely turn from him. Got the better of Schmelzer. Bought himself a yard of space with the cross. And Mandzukic with the header that he couldn't generate enough power for. But had he been an inch taller, it could have been 1-1.
They're in charge of the possession, Bayern. They've played some lovely stuff, and the little nutmegs by Shaqiri to find Alaba, who was just unfortunately unable to find Mandzukic stretching on the far post. That was just a lovely build-up. Probably one of their, if not their best, certainly one of them.
Seemed just to take an awkward bounce there, hit a divot on its way through as it looked as though it was going to end up at the feet of Shaqiri, and leapt up over him, or over his left foot anyway.
Yeah, and I think Dortmund need to respond to this, because Bayern seem to have picked it up now, and Dortmund are not getting as tight as they should be.
Not too much in it in terms of the shots total. You would expect a Guardiola side to have a very high pass completion rate. Foul by Boateng. Sahin for Gundogan. Given away cheaply in the midfield again.
I think Gundogan's a classy player. I think he's young, he's got a huge future ahead. He's gritty, good passer normally. I'm not sure that that's his best position. Played a little deeper when we saw him last season. Obviously he's doing the Mkhitaryan job tonight, but I don't know whether he's got enough craft to deliver what they want from there.
Gross-Kreutz. Lewandowski again trying to find space in the middle. It was Blaszczykowski that tried to find him. Hummels with the miscue. Another player who has moved between these two clubs in the past. He only made one brief appearance for Bayern at the start of his career. 39 minutes of first-team action in Bavaria before arriving for next to nothing in Dortmund. Linchpin of the most successful side that Dortmund have had for many years. Starker needed a touch. Had time for it this time, and Alaba wins the throw.
If you're a Dortmund striker at the moment, you want to see the ball played back to Tom Starker at his feet, because, you know, doesn't look, after the mistake early on, it's clearly weighing on his mind, and he just doesn't look comfortable. And those first touches he's taken are not the greatest.
Difficult one for Royce to control, leaning back, and it's set up awkwardly for him as well. It's a third successive appearance in the Super Cup for Dortmund, and they're yet to win one in that time. Beaten by Bayern last season and by Schalke on penalties a couple of years ago. Going to go back to 1996 for the last time that they won this competition, and that was on penalties against Kaiserslautern. Here's Kroos. Lahm. Now Robben.
Loose touch, and Schmelzer was straight onto it.
I sense that after the Champions League final as well, Robben is something of a pantomime villain in these parts now. Alaba. Sorry, Boateng, the player that came across, just got there in time as Lewandowski was herring towards the ball, and I don't think any of the Bayern players really appreciated the danger. Boateng, the first to spot what was likely to happen. Shaqiri for Mandzukic. Excellent challenge by Subotic. Boateng surviving the stumble. Shaqiri. Royce with an opportunity to bring the ball forward. Only Lewandowski ahead of him with his teammates at the moment. Support did arrive in the shape of Schmelzer, who's done really well. Lewandowski got a clean jump towards the ball. It's Gundogan. Taken away from him by Thiago.
Yeah, did well to keep it alive, Schmelzer, after Royce had probably held on to it just a little too long, but right, Jim, Thiago did extremely well to get his foot to that.
Dummy from Sahin. Royce. Blaszczykowski. And Gundogan with a shot. Blocked by Boateng. Dortmund having a better spell of pressure now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he does very well here. He knows he can't knock it across the 6-yard box, so he pulls it back, and it's a good block by Boateng, made the ground up, and then had a go at those in front for not being a bit quicker to things.
This is Dortmund's first corner of the game. Dealt with by Starker. This was the resulting shot from Gundogan. Not a prolific goal scorer, but he has netted some important ones, including a penalty against Bayern in the Champions League final last season. Foul there on Kroos. Sahin not convinced.
He's already gone to ground before he arrived. I mean, it's not a good call from the referee. I mean, Bayern have had the majority of it. I think they've probably looked better on the ball, but probably not at their, well, definitely not at their most incisive in the final third. And Dortmund are just biding their time, just waiting for things like this to happen, and then they're very swift on the counter.
Given away this time by Shaqiri, who's lucky to have an opportunity to atone for his own error. Bender can't do anything constructive with possession. This is Lahm. Thiago.
Shaqiri had a very good chance early in the game, Jim, when he knocked the ball straight at Weidenfeller. Since then, I think he's been sloppy.
Kroos. Cat calls tell you that it's Robben in possession again. Now Lahm. Here's Toni Kroos. Couldn't quite get it into a shooting position. And Royce impudently just wins it back with a clever little flick. Possession turned over quickly by Van Boyten.
Lewandowski just limping after that. Can't quite get it right again, Bayern. I'm surprised at him in a way. I mean, I remember seeing him play for Barcelona at Bayern in the Audi Cup pre-season a couple of years ago, and he was absolutely brilliant for pretty much a second-string Barcelona side. He was man of the tournament. In such a deep position, though, Thiago, when he's got so many attacking skills. I'm a little surprised that Guardiola is keeping him quite deep.
Alaba.
Well, but for the gift from Tom Starker, it would be level, and probably about right. I mean, there's very little between the sides, as per usual.
Referee acknowledging the foul. Play continues. Lahm. No way through for Muller. And the first 45 minutes of Pep Guardiola's Bayern Munich reign come to an end with his side trailing. A 24-carat error from that man, Tom Starker, the first goal that he's conceded for his club, scored by Marco Reus, taking advantage of the gift. A 6-minute lead for Borussia Dortmund that they've held ever since. Bender with a header back that Starker inexplicably couldn't hold, and Royce was there to capitalise. A move which came after a poor piece of play. Starker failing a test of his footballing abilities with the ball at his feet as well. Not too much to choose between the two sides, in all truth. Chances at either end. Very entertaining opening 45 minutes of the 2013-14 Super Cup. And at half-time, Dortmund lead it by a goal to nil.